What if the real wisdom you've been seeking isn't out there, but buried within you? Why do we pour ourselves into everything and everyone, yet forget the one person who matters most? Maybe the breakthrough you've been waiting for doesn't come from doing more, but from finally choosing yourself. The legendary philosopher Socrates once said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of wisdom." But what many people overlook is that he didn't stop there. He pointed to something even deeper. When you truly know yourself, you finally begin to understand how to take care of yourself. From ancient Greek sages to the enduring wisdom of the Stoics, this message has echoed across time: prioritize yourself. Not out of selfishness, but because it is the very foundation of a meaningful, balanced, and fulfilling life. Fast forward to today, everywhere you turn, people are talking about self-care. It's trending. It's hashtagged. But here's the truth: how many actually live it? In a world that moves at breakneck speed, we often lose ourselves in the blur. Deadlines. Family obligations. Social pressure. We're so busy living up to expectations that we forget something vital: we deserve to be a priority too. Think about it: how much energy have you spent trying to please others? Pursuing goals that don't even belong to you? Living under the weight of expectations that were never yours to begin with? So the real question is, when will you finally start living for yourself? Prioritizing yourself is not a betrayal of others. It's a powerful act of freedom. It means shedding the toxic belief that your worth is tied to how much you give away, and instead, turning inward, toward your dreams, your values, your growth. You deserve that. Because only when you feel whole can you offer something meaningful to the world. Ready to take the first step? Leave a comment below: "I prioritize myself." Let that be your declaration, your first move in reclaiming your life. Step 1. Focus on yourself. In today's ever-shifting world, it's easy to get swept up in comparisons. We scroll through highlight reels, measuring our worth against someone else's success, wondering why we haven't arrived yet. But Stoic wisdom offers us a much-needed reminder: you are not in competition with anyone but yourself. Your real growth begins when you stop racing others and start mastering what's truly within your control: your thoughts, your choices, and how you respond to life. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Let that truth sink in. And with that, let's move into the next step: a deeper look at how to quiet the noise of the outside world and anchor yourself in what truly matters. Realize this, and you will find strength. These words serve as a powerful reminder: true strength doesn't come from dominating the world around us. It comes from mastering the world within. We often chase control, of people, of outcomes, of chaos. But every event in life, whether joyful or heartbreaking, lies outside our control. What we can control is our response. How we choose to perceive those events, that's where our power lies. If we constantly fixate on what others think, on the injustices of life, or on circumstances we cannot change, we will find ourselves trapped in a cycle of anxiety, bitterness, and restlessness. The more we reach for control over the external, the more helpless we feel when things go wrong. But there's another path. When we learn to quiet the noise, to take command of our thoughts, and to remain centered even when storms rage around us, we tap into something rare and resilient: an unshakable inner calm. That is true strength. That is freedom. Freedom, you see, is not the power to bend the world to your will. It's the ability to shift your perception, to see clearly through life's illusions, and to stay grounded in your own truth. Once you achieve that, external chaos loses its grip on you. There's a quiet truth that many people miss: every one of us begins from a different starting point. Different stories. Different battles. Different dreams. And yet, we spend so much of our lives peering sideways, comparing, measuring, and obsessing over what others are doing. We let their opinions shape our identity. We chase validation in their eyes. And slowly, without even noticing, we drift away from ourselves. But the Stoics teach something revolutionary: your energy is precious. Spend it wisely. Every moment you waste on envy, judgment, or meaningless comparison is a moment stolen from your own growth. You only have so much attention, so much time, so much heart to give. Why pour it into things that do not serve you? When you reclaim that energy, when you stop handing over your power to things you cannot control, you begin to rise. Let me share a story. One you've probably heard, but maybe not in this light. Theodore Roosevelt, one of the most iconic presidents in U.S. history, was a frail child, plagued by asthma so severe he could barely play like other kids. People doubted him. Doctors pitied him. Many believed he would live a life of weakness. But Roosevelt chose a different path. Instead of succumbing to despair or resentment, he looked inward. He began training his body, his mind, and his will. He studied relentlessly. He refused to be defined by limitations. He forged strength through hardship. In time, he didn't just overcome his illness. He became one of the most tenacious, resilient leaders the world has ever known. His journey is pure stoicism in action. It proves a timeless truth: you may not be able to change your external circumstances, but you can always change yourself. And when you do that, when you focus on your own path, your own power, you'll uncover a realization that might just change everything. When you begin living from within, rather than reacting to the world outside, you'll notice something powerful happen. Suddenly, your life is no longer dictated by external circumstances. You spend far less time worrying about how others perceive you. Their criticisms no longer sting the same way. The weight of outside opinions, it starts to fade. And in its place, you feel something you may not have felt in a long time: freedom. Just imagine waking up each morning and asking yourself, what can I do today to become the best version of myself? Instead of, what will others think of me today? That one question can change everything. Because when your focus shifts to self-growth, learning new things, practicing consistently, improving your skills, you're not just upgrading your work or productivity. You're upgrading your entire life. Look at the greatest minds in history: thinkers, creators, innovators. What do they all share in common? They never wasted time comparing themselves to others. They didn't measure their progress with someone else's ruler. Instead, they were fiercely devoted to their own journey. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." When we obsess over others' judgments, we suffer twice: once from the situation itself, and again from the story we tell ourselves about it. But when we focus inward, on growth, discipline, and daily improvement, we unleash a force far greater than validation: true personal power. So how do you focus on yourself in a world constantly trying to pull you in 100 directions? Here's where Stoicism offers us a vital lesson: control your thoughts. Control your actions. One of the most effective ways to do that is by crafting a personal development plan, your blueprint for growth. Take a step back. Reflect. What do you genuinely want to achieve in this life? Then, break it down. Map out the clear, actionable steps you need to get there. Study those who've walked the path before you, yes, but don't idolize them. Their footsteps are not your road. Be inspired, not intimidated. You can learn from the greats, but your journey must be your own. Just as importantly, protect your energy. That means cutting out the noise: social media, toxic relationships, negative news. These distractions rob you of the clarity and focus you need to build the life you truly want. If you're constantly feeding your mind with negativity or comparison, how will you ever have the space to nurture your own progress? Prioritizing yourself is not selfish. It's wise. It's strategic. And it's essential if you want to live a life of clarity and fulfillment. But here's the deeper truth: focusing on yourself is just the beginning. The next level is mastering your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions. Because true peace doesn't come from isolation. It comes from resilience. So, are you ready to go deeper? Then let's continue with part 2, master your thoughts and emotions. We live in a world full of distractions, where a single comment, a careless opinion, or a missed expectation can throw us off balance. But Stoic wisdom teaches us how to stay calm in the chaos. But ask yourself, is that really how you want to live? Should your peace of mind be held hostage by things that don't belong to you, other people's opinions, careless words, or unpredictable events? Stoic philosophy offers a clear answer: no. Epictetus, one of the most revered Stoic thinkers, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And those words carry a truth that cuts through the noise of modern life. Because the world outside is chaotic, it always has been. People will disappoint you. Events will derail your plans. The unexpected will knock on your door. But none of that defines you. What truly defines you is this: how you choose to respond. You may not be able to control someone breaking a promise, blaming you unfairly, or failing to understand your pain. But you can control whether you internalize that pain, or rise above it. We've all been there, feeling betrayed, let down, or misunderstood. The natural response is often sadness, frustration, or anger. But Stoic wisdom urges us to pause and reflect. Are these emotions useful? Do they help us move forward? Or are they just draining us, robbing us of the clarity and strength we need? Let's take a powerful example from modern times. In 2010, LeBron James made a controversial decision, leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers to join the Miami Heat. For many fans, it felt like betrayal. His jerseys were burned. Social media erupted. Pundits and even sports legends criticized him harshly. The emotional backlash was massive. The pressure? Unbearable for most. But LeBron made a Stoic choice. He didn't react with anger or public defense. He didn't let the hate define him. Instead, he said something simple, powerful, and Stoic at its core: I can't control what people say about me, but I can control my effort and my attitude. And that's exactly what he did. He focused on what he could control: his training, his mindset, his performance. The result? He led the Miami Heat to 2 NBA championships. Not because he silenced the world, but because he mastered himself. This is what emotional mastery looks like. Nelson Mandela embodied this same principle. After 27 years in prison, he didn't emerge bitter or revengeful. He chose forgiveness. He chose peace. He chose to master his response to injustice, because he knew that true power lies not in controlling others, but in controlling oneself. But let's be clear, mastering your thoughts and emotions is not something you achieve overnight. It's not a magic switch. It's a discipline, a daily commitment, a form of mental strength that requires patience and repetition. Each day offers a new chance to pause before reacting, to choose clarity over chaos, and to respond from wisdom instead of impulse. So the question becomes, are you willing to train your mind like an athlete trains their body? Because up next, we'll break down exactly how to build that inner resilience, and what daily habits can help you stay rooted in peace, no matter what life throws your way. In Stoic philosophy, there are 3 essential principles that help us anchor ourselves, no matter what chaos surrounds us. First, be aware of your own thoughts. When something happens, pause. Don't react. Observe. Ask yourself, is this emotion truly necessary? Is it helping me, or harming me? Many of the emotions we experience are not absolute truths. They are temporary mental habits, shadows cast by our own interpretation. And once you understand that negative thoughts are just that, thoughts, you can start learning to let them go. Second, don't allow the emotions of others to become your burden. Did someone criticize you unfairly? That's their judgment, not your truth. Did someone treat you poorly? That's a reflection of them, not of your worth. Marcus Aurelius, one of the wisest Stoics, said it clearly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Third, accept what is beyond your control. Life is unpredictable. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall apart. But peace doesn't come from fighting the current, it comes from surrendering to the flow with clarity and grace. When you accept that you cannot change how the world moves, but only how you perceive it, you begin to live from a place of true freedom. In our modern world, negativity is everywhere. Harsh comments on social media. Unrealistic demands from work. Silent expectations from society or family. If we internalize all of it, let it live rent-free in our minds, how can we ever experience genuine peace? That's why Michelle Obama's story is such a powerful example of emotional mastery in action. As First Lady of the United States, she stood under a relentless spotlight. Her fashion, her speeches, even her presence, were constantly scrutinized. Critics dissected everything, often with a tone of cruelty or bias. But Michelle didn't let the noise consume her. She chose resilience over reaction. She stayed rooted in her values: family, education, public service, and dignity. And in one of her most famous speeches, she delivered a phrase that has echoed far beyond politics. When they go low, we go high. That is Stoicism, distilled in 6 words. She didn't allow the outside world to steal her self-respect. She didn't allow prejudice to define her worth. Instead, she carried herself with poise, emotional strength, and unwavering focus on what truly mattered. Her story is a reminder: true power isn't loud. It's not reactive. It's quiet strength, choosing grace over anger, self-worth over validation. So now, ask yourself. Are you ready to stop giving your energy away to things that don't deserve it? It begins with one decision: you will no longer let negativity rob you of your peace. Start by noticing your thoughts. Practice releasing emotions that don't serve you. And refocus your attention on what truly matters: your values, your growth, and your inner peace. And now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've been holding on to that you're ready to let go of? Drop it in the comments. Let this be the first step toward your emotional freedom. Have you ever faced a moment where you had no choice but to master your thoughts and emotions? Where silence, not reaction, became your greatest strength? If you've experienced that, or applied Stoic principles in your own life, share your story in the comments. Your experience could inspire someone else on their journey. Step 3. Keep silent to successfully speak up. Here's a simple, but challenging, truth. Sometimes, the most powerful way to speak is by saying nothing at all. In today's world, loud, chaotic, and driven by the need to be heard, the person who can remain calm, composed, and quiet becomes the rarest kind of powerful. Silence isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's restraint. It's the mark of someone who is deeply grounded in Stoic philosophy. True control isn't found in how loudly you respond, it's found in how intentionally you don't. Epictetus put it beautifully. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This isn't just about listening to others. It's about pausing long enough to listen to ourselves, to reflect before we react, and to respond with clarity, not impulse. In Stoicism, mental control doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It means becoming aware of them, so you can choose the wisest response rather than default to emotional reactivity. And that distinction changes everything. Because here's the reality. Every day, we're bombarded with negativity. Harsh words. Thoughtless actions. Misunderstandings. Unfair pressure. If we don't know how to pause and ground ourselves, we're easily swept into emotional chaos, anger, sadness, frustration, or the need to prove something. But Stoic wisdom urges us to hold steady. Remain calm. Stay centered. Don't give others the power to shake your peace. For example, imagine someone insults you. Your instinct may be to defend yourself, argue back, or lash out in return. But what happens in that moment? You've given away your emotional control. You've handed over your peace of mind to someone else. Now imagine a different response. You pause. You observe. You say nothing, because you understand that silence is your strength. In that stillness, you remain anchored in yourself. You don't need to react. You don't need to prove anything. You remain above the storm. That is real power. Picture this: you're in a heated debate. Tension builds. The other person criticizes, provokes, even insults you, trying to get a reaction. But instead of losing your cool, you stay composed. You don't fight to be right. You simply hold your ground in silence, with calm eyes and a steady presence. And in that moment, you win. Not by defeating the other person, but by mastering yourself. Because true stoicism isn't about being passive. It's about being powerful without needing to show it. When you respond impulsively, when anger drives your words, you're not just reacting. You're surrendering. You're playing by their rules. You become, in essence, a puppet, pulled by strings of emotion. But if you take a deep breath, pause, and choose silence over impulse, something powerful happens. You gain the space to respond with clarity. You give yourself time to craft a smarter, sharper, and far more effective reply, one that reflects strength, not weakness. That's the heart of Stoic discipline. Not the absence of emotion, but the decision to not be ruled by it. Throughout history, the greatest leaders weren't the loudest, they were the most composed. They knew when to speak. And more importantly, they knew when not to. Take Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome and one of Stoicism's most revered figures. His reign was filled with political conspiracies, betrayal, and relentless public pressure. But rather than react with rage or rash decisions, Marcus chose the path of inner control. He observed. He reflected. He wrote. And he only spoke when it truly mattered. That steady calm didn't just preserve his power, it earned him lasting respect. Because true leadership is not measured by reaction, but by restraint. And this same principle showed up in the life of another historic figure, Abraham Lincoln. In 1861, Lincoln stepped into the presidency of a nation torn apart by civil war. The pressure was unimaginable. Political opponents attacked him from all sides. Even his own allies questioned his judgment. But Lincoln didn't fight back with bitterness. He didn't lash out with public rebuttals. Instead, he chose silence. He listened. He thought. He studied every perspective before taking action. For years, under the immense weight of criticism, Lincoln stayed composed, until the moment was right. Then, with full awareness and resolve, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, a historic decision that reshaped not only the war, but the future of an entire nation. Had he reacted out of anger, had he allowed emotions to cloud his vision, history may have turned out very differently. But Lincoln's ability to master his mind and time his words helped hold the country together. This is the timeless lesson Stoicism teaches us. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. It's a powerful weapon, one that allows us to preserve energy, sharpen our perspective, and act with wisdom when it truly counts. So, the next time you're provoked, criticized, or misunderstood, pause. Breathe. Observe. Because maybe the wisest move isn't to speak louder. It's to say less, and mean more. So what can we learn from these remarkable individuals, Marcus Aurelius, Abraham Lincoln, Michelle Obama? That sometimes the loudest voice isn't the strongest one. That real power doesn't always need to shout. Sometimes, silence is the most potent force in the room. Silence can shield us from chaos. Silence can protect our peace. Silence can deliver more impact than any argument ever could. But how do we practice this art of silence, and use it to master our minds? It begins with cultivating an observational mindset. The next time you face a stressful situation, pause. Instead of reacting out of habit, ask yourself, is this truly worth sacrificing my inner peace? Most of the time, you'll find the answer is no. Next, practice patience. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every critic deserves your attention. Sometimes, letting go is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of wisdom. Unreasonable comments, petty behavior, or someone's negative energy doesn't need to enter your mind. Your emotions are yours to guard, and not everyone earns the right to influence them. When you choose silence, you're not losing. You're winning. Quietly. Powerfully. On your own terms. And finally, practice meditation, even if just for a few minutes a day. Meditation strengthens your mind like lifting weights strengthens your body. It teaches you to sit with discomfort, to breathe through tension, and to respond instead of react. Marcus Aurelius himself, despite being the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, carved out time each day to reflect. He journaled. He meditated. He grounded himself, so the storms of politics and war couldn't shake him. You can do the same. Take time to be still. Focus on what you can control. And release what is outside your reach. Because silence is not surrender. It's strategy. It's not passive, it's intentional. When you know how to be silent, you begin to understand when to speak, and how to make your words matter. As Epictetus wisely advised. Listen more. Observe carefully. Keep your mind calm. Speak only when necessary. This is the essence of Stoic strength. And never forget, no one can control your peace unless you hand it to them. Step 4, don't let emotions control you. Stoicism teaches us a critical truth. Do not let your emotions run your life. Yes, emotions are part of being human. They're natural. But when they take the wheel, the results can be disastrous. A single moment of rage can destroy a relationship. A decision made in fear can kill an opportunity. Anxiety can blur your vision when clarity is most needed. Strong emotions like anger, fear, and anxiety often arise in moments when things are outside our control. Someone criticizes us unfairly. We feel anxious before a big decision. We panic when life throws us a challenge. But here's the danger, if we don't manage those emotions, they will manage us. And the consequences? Poor decisions. Broken trust. Damaged careers. Regret. So, how can we stop our emotions from hijacking our actions? Coming up in Trang 9. We'll dive into the Stoic techniques that can help you stay grounded, clear-minded, and in control, no matter how intense the moment. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This quote captures a central truth of Stoicism, that real freedom doesn't come from having more, it comes from needing less. And the same applies to our emotions. When our desires are unchecked and our emotions run wild, it's like being tossed around by a violent storm at sea. We lose our center. We lose our clarity. And worst of all, we lose control over how we navigate life's most critical moments. Only when we learn to master our emotions, like a calm sailor guiding a ship through crashing waves, can we steer our lives in the direction we truly desire. Because let's face it, when emotions control us, reason disappears. And in that fog, we make poor decisions. Not just ones that affect us, but ones that damage our relationships, careers, and reputations. Let me share a story that brings this home. There was a man named John. During an important company meeting, a colleague openly criticized John's handling of a project. Instead of listening calmly or evaluating the feedback with a clear mind, John snapped. He fired back with accusations, raised his voice, and turned the room into a battlefield of tension and ego. The result? The meeting fell apart. Collaboration was destroyed. And John's relationship with that colleague suffered serious damage. What went wrong? John wasn't present. He wasn't in control. His anger made the decisions for him. Had he paused, listened, and responded from a place of composure, he could have defended his point with clarity, turned the conversation into a productive one, and earned respect, not resentment. His story is a powerful reminder. When emotions are in control, we aren't. That's why Stoicism urges us to be vigilant about emotions like anger and fear. Not because emotions are evil, but because they're dangerous when left unchecked. You can't control every situation. You can't stop people from criticizing you, or prevent challenges from arriving. But you can control your response. That's where real power lies. When we allow emotions to dominate, we cloud our judgment. We say things we regret. We act before thinking. But when we take a breath and recenter ourselves, we regain control of the one thing that truly belongs to us, our mind. This is especially crucial in high-pressure moments, where one decision can shape the future. So how do we stay grounded in those intense situations? Through practice. And one of the most effective Stoic practices for emotional control is meditation. Not the kind that requires hours of silence or chanting, but simple, mindful breathing. When you focus on your breath, you create space between stimulus and response. You slow down. You reconnect with the present moment. And in that space, clarity returns. Strength returns. Marcus Aurelius understood this well. Every day, he reflected. He journaled. He took time to reset, because he knew the battlefield wasn't just political. It was internal. And so is yours. So if you want to stop being a slave to emotion, start by mastering the breath. Anchor yourself in stillness, so that when the storm comes, you won't be swept away. When stress strikes, your first instinct may be to react, but that's exactly when you need to pause. Take a deep breath. Feel the air enter your lungs. Let it calm your racing thoughts. This simple act, a few seconds of conscious breathing, can shift you from emotional reaction to rational response. It's a small moment. But it's everything. Because in that space between stimulus and response lies your true power, the ability to choose how you react. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoic thinkers and Roman emperors, embodied this discipline. Despite ruling over a vast empire and having absolute power, he consistently chose self-control over emotional impulse. He faced brutal challenges, wars, rebellions, betrayals, yet never allowed anger, fear, or despair to dictate his actions. In his personal journal, Meditations, he reminded himself over and over. You cannot control external events, but you can always control your response. One striking example was during extended military conflicts and internal uprisings within the Roman Empire. Instead of reacting with rage or fear, emotions that could easily lead to rash decisions, Marcus took his time. He reflected. He questioned whether his response would serve the empire in the long term or merely satisfy a fleeting emotion. That's the Stoic difference. Acting with purpose, not reacting out of emotion. His ability to remain composed, evaluate clearly, and respond wisely helped stabilize Rome during one of its most volatile periods. And this isn't just ancient wisdom, it applies to your life today. When you stay calm in the face of pressure, you don't just make better decisions, you gain respect. From others. And from yourself. Because reacting with poise sends a strong, quiet message. I am in control. Not my anger. Not my fear. Me. Stoicism doesn't tell us to suppress emotions. It teaches us to master them. To use them wisely instead of letting them lead us blindly. Emotions can be tools, but only when you are the one holding them. Learn to master your emotions, and you'll find yourself navigating life with greater peace, precision, and personal power. Step 5. Focus only on your supporters. In daily life, much of our exhaustion doesn't come from physical labor, it comes from emotional friction. We interact with countless people. Some uplift us. Others drain us. And this matters more than we realize, because your energy is your most limited and valuable resource. If you spend it engaging with negativity, defensiveness, or people who constantly misunderstand or undervalue you, you'll have little left to invest in your growth. Think about it, how many times have you walked away from a conversation feeling discouraged, irritated, or just tired? Now contrast that with the feeling of talking to someone who sees you, supports you, and believes in your vision. The difference is night and day. In every social circle, you'll encounter people who lack empathy, who criticize more than they encourage, or who simply drain your motivation with subtle negativity. If you're not careful, these interactions will slowly chip away at your confidence and cloud your long-term clarity. Stoicism doesn't advise us to isolate, but it does advise us to choose our company wisely. Because the people around you influence your energy, your mindset, and ultimately, your destiny. Coming up in Trang 11, we'll explore how to identify your true supporters, protect your mental energy, and cultivate the kind of environment that fuels your highest self. One of the most powerful lessons in Stoic philosophy is this: who you surround yourself with matters deeply. Your environment, especially the people in it, can either nurture your growth or slowly poison your peace. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control others, we can, and must, choose where we invest our energy. This ancient wisdom isn't just about patience and discipline. It's also a crystal clear perspective on influence. On recognizing that some people uplift us, while others drain us. That's why choosing who you associate with is not a small decision, it's a foundational one. It directly affects your personal growth, emotional health, and long-term success. You might not be able to change others, but you can choose who walks beside you. And one of the core Stoic principles is this: manage your emotional and mental energy with intention. Your energy is not infinite. Every conversation, every relationship, every interaction either fuels you, or depletes you. Think about it, how many times have you left a conversation with someone and felt smaller? Not because of the topic, but because of how they spoke to you, constant criticism, subtle jabs, or that draining negativity masked as honesty. People like that don't just affect your mood. They weaken your mental clarity, shake your confidence, and distract you from your purpose. When you regularly engage with people who judge, criticize, or try to pull you down, you start wasting your most valuable resource, your focus. Instead of building your vision, you find yourself defending it. Instead of creating, you're reacting. Instead of moving forward, you're stuck in emotional self-defense. Over time, these subtle energy leaks take a toll on your confidence, your motivation, and your inner peace. And here's the thing, people who lack empathy rarely encourage growth. They fixate on your flaws. They project their insecurities onto you. And they create environments where genuine progress cannot flourish. They don't just tire you out physically. They drain your spirit. They make you question your worth, your direction, your dreams, until you forget how far you've come. That's why protecting your inner space isn't selfish. It's essential. The Stoics remind us that we must be the guardians of our own peace. And sometimes, that means walking away from those who choose judgment over understanding, destruction over encouragement. If you want to stay grounded, focused, and aligned with your purpose, choose to be around people who see your light, and help you protect it. Toxic people don't just criticize your flaws, they create environments where growth becomes nearly impossible. This is exactly why Stoic philosophy places such deep emphasis on the people we allow into our lives. According to Stoicism, if you want to protect your inner peace and move forward in life, you must carefully choose your companions. Because the truth is simple, only those who share your values, your vision, and your sense of purpose can truly support your growth. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, lived by this principle. He believed that surrounding yourself with people who embody similar virtues, integrity, discipline, and humility, was key to maintaining both peace and progress. He warned against wasting energy on those who are not aligned with your journey, those who drain you, argue for the sake of ego, or pull you into distractions that weaken your focus. And this principle is just as relevant today. Look at Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon. When he began building his company from a small garage, Bezos knew that skill alone wouldn't be enough. To truly succeed, he needed a team that didn't just work hard, they needed to believe deeply. Believe in innovation. Believe in the long game. Believe in the vision. So he handpicked people who weren't afraid of risk. People who could face failure, experiment boldly, and stay resilient when things didn't go according to plan. That mindset, the courage to innovate and stay aligned with a shared mission, was one of the key reasons Amazon turned from a startup into a global empire. Bezos once said, "If you double the number of experiments you do per year, you're going to double your inventiveness." But that kind of experimentation only works in an environment of trust, alignment, and shared passion. It proves that success isn't just about individual effort. It's also about who you choose to surround yourself with. And this is where Stoic wisdom becomes truly actionable. In your own life, you must ask, are the people around me helping me grow, or holding me back? Don't waste your time trying to win the approval of those who don't see your potential. Don't let negativity blur your vision. Instead, invest in relationships with people who encourage your evolution. People who challenge you with love. Who walk beside you with integrity. Who believe in your mission even when the path gets difficult. Start with your work environment. Your home. Your daily interactions. Surround yourself with people who reflect the kind of life you want to build. Because just as a single toxic voice can erode your confidence, a single aligned connection can amplify your purpose. If your environment doesn't inspire growth, if it doesn't motivate you to evolve or align with your deeper values, it may be time to reconsider staying there. Because no matter how strong you are, even the most disciplined mind will wither in a toxic space. A positive environment acts like rich soil. It nourishes your spirit. It supports emotional stability. And it helps you maintain long-term vision and self-confidence, especially when life gets hard. That's why Stoic philosophy teaches that personal growth and inner peace aren't just about mindset. They're also about placement. Who you're around. Where you spend your time. What you choose to tolerate. Your energy is a sacred resource, and the Stoics remind us. Use it wisely. Don't scatter your focus trying to fix people who drain you. Don't pour your strength into relationships or spaces that offer no return. Instead, invest in people who uplift you. Surround yourself with those who understand your vision, who support your progress, and who walk the path with integrity. Because here's the truth. Negative people aren't just unpleasant. They are expensive. They rob you of clarity. They cost you peace. And worst of all, they stall your momentum. Avoiding them isn't cruelty, it's self-preservation. Throughout this journey, we've explored what it truly means to prioritize yourself. When you commit to your own growth, when you learn to manage your thoughts and emotions, and when you choose wisely where and with whom you invest your energy, everything begins to shift. You gain not just mental clarity, but emotional strength. Not just calm, but direction. Not just peace, but power. Because Stoicism teaches us that true success and inner peace are not achieved by controlling the world. They are achieved by mastering ourselves. So, now it's your turn. What do you think about the Stoic principle of energy management and self-prioritization? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'd love to hear your reflections. And if this video helped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more wisdom on building a life rooted in calm, clarity, and strength. Your next video is already waiting. Click it now and continue this journey toward becoming the strongest, most grounded version of yourself. I'll see you there.